Imagine an Earth without a single leaf. Billions of years ago, this was our world. It was a place of rock. It was a place of water. It was a place of silence. The land was a vast, empty expanse of brown and gray, baked by a harsh sun. There were no forests, no meadows, no gentle moss carpeting the stones. The air itself was thin and strange, not the rich, oxygen-filled atmosphere we breathe today. This was a planet waiting for a transformation, a world holding its breath for the arrival of life in a form that would utterly change its destiny. The first hint of this monumental change began not on the land, but in the water. In the sunlit shallows of ancient oceans, something miraculous was stirring. Tiny, simple organisms began to develop a remarkable new skill. They learned to harness the power of the sun. This process, which we now call photosynthesis, was a stroke of genius. These were the first algae, the very first green spark in a world of blue and brown. The oceans teemed with this simple green life, but the land remained barren. How could a creature born of water survive on dry land? The sun was harsh and unfiltered. Along the edges of continents where water met rock, a new kind of plant began to emerge from the algal mats in the shallows. These were the very first pioneers to brave the hostile world of the shore, small, low-lying, resembling the mosses and liverworts we see today. They developed a waxy outer layer, a cuticle, to seal in precious moisture and protect themselves from the sun. They developed simple, root-like structures called rhizoids, fine filaments that could anchor and absorb water and minerals from damp earth. They clung to damp rocks and the moist soil at the water's edge, forming the first green carpets on the otherwise sterile land. It was a tentative, fragile foothold, a small victory against the vast emptiness of the continents. This transition was not a single event but a long, arduous process of trial and error spanning millions of years. These early plants were tied to damp margins, relying on moisture for reproduction, still echoes of their aquatic past. They had breached the boundary between two worlds. The first green fuzz had appeared on the continents. Once plants had established their foothold on land, they began an extraordinary period of innovation and expansion. To compete for sunlight, plants needed to grow taller. This led to the evolution of one of nature's most brilliant inventions, the stem. Stems, reinforced with lignin, gave plants the strength to support their weight. That strength allowed plants to grow upwards, reaching above their neighbors to capture more light. Plants developed specialized tissues, xylem, phloem. Xylem drew water and nutrients from the roots up the stem. Phloem carried sugars produced in the leaves down to the rest of the plant. To capture more sunlight, plants unfurled leaves. Leaves were like solar panels, broad, flat surfaces filled with chlorophyll. Efficient leaves spread across the globe. They pumped vast quantities of oxygen into the atmosphere. The air became richer and more breathable, making the planet hospitable for more complex life. The greening of the continents was more than just a visual change. It fundamentally altered the planet and paved the way for other life forms, including our own ancestors. The massive increase in oxygen produced by countless leaves created the air that animals with lungs would need to breathe. They formed the base of almost every terrestrial food chain. Plants evolved colorful flowers and sweet nectar to attract insects, birds. They developed nutritious fruits and seeds, carried by wind, water, and animals to colonize new lands. The forests and grasslands became vast living larders, fueling the diversification of animal life, from tiny beetles to enormous dinosaurs. The relationship between plants and animals became a rich and intricate tapestry of codependence. Even today, our reliance on plants is absolute. They provide our food, the oxygen we breathe, materials for our homes and clothes, and countless medicines. They regulate climate, prevent soil erosion, and provide habitats for millions of species. From the ancient algae in the sea to the towering redwood forests, the story of plants is the story of life on Earth. They are the silent, steadfast architects of our world, and protecting them is paramount, for in their survival, we ensure our own. They are the foundation upon which all life is built.